Tvaritaye Namaha.
Namaste everyone. Today we are going to talk about Ashtami Tithi or 8th lunar day in Vedic astrology. An 8th lunar day in Vedic astrology is connected to element ether, guna of tamas, and Rahu, so node of the moon, which has no body, which is not virtually a planet, but is simply like a point in the sky causing eclipses. It is exactly where the eclipses are happening. So you can imagine that this Tithi or this lunar day is going to be very special. One other very special thing about this lunar day or this Tithi is that if you look at the sky, if you would look at the moon looks exactly the same in Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha. So you will see exactly the half of the moon, which is why, according to certain scriptures, this lunar day is also connected to Ardhanarishwara, which is a form of Shiva where one half is him, one half is Shiva or masculine principle, while other half of him is Parvati. So it's half Shiva, half Parvati, half male, half female, which is why this entire Tithi is going to be about balance of all forces in nature, in fact. Because goddess presiding over this lunar day, she is called Tvarita. And Goddess Tvarita is very ancient one. In fact, you will find her in Agni Purana, you will find her even in certain Tibetan scriptures. And there is this amazing mythological story how in the beginning of creation, where out of chaos, out of tamas, out of the, tamasic mass of atoms, when God started to create things, when he wanted to bring the world into life, suddenly, there came a snake. Sometimes he's associated with Vritrasura, and he simply symbolized the force of tamas, the force of chaos, which tried to again, disintegrate the creation. So the counter force of creation. And then goddess, in the form of Tvarita, she actually appeared to control, this energy, to control the chaotic energy. And she's the one who really protected the creation in that way. And it's so beautiful because Goddess Tvarita, she is actually adorned with snakes. So it shows that she is a friend of the forces of nature, which look very chaotic, if you look at them from the outside. I mean, right here we are in nature, and if you look at the trees, you look at flowers, at first sight it might look very chaotic how nature is growing, but deep behind it, there is always some order hidden behind that. And similarly, people born on Ashtami Tithi, they love nature and they love to seek some higher order in the natural world. So you may find many scientists, for example, or even many mystics born on this exact lunar day. And Goddess Tvarita herself, she's a great friend of nature. In fact, she's the only goddess who is not adorned with any gold, any jewelry, like all other Nitya Devis. She's adorned with forest flowers, with forest leaves, with snakes, with peacock feathers, and even with berries. So she's the one who is the most connected to the forces of nature. So Ashtami natives, they very often have lots of this creative chaos around themselves. They're actually very creative people, very resourceful people. They love to do 10 things at the same time, collect lots of different informations. I mean, one of the natives born on Ashtami Tithi was actually Albert Einstein, who is literally archetype of these, crazy scientists who have lots of, this creative chaos around him. And that's really the nature of Ashtami Tithi natives. They really love to connect literally to everything. And the biggest challenge for them is to simply find in this ocean of information and ocean of different things which they are processing some sort of order. And because people born on Ashtami Tithi, they are so fascinated, with all the mysteries of the universe, they often have very scientific mind. They love to find, this order in seeming chaos. They are fascinated with the concepts of time, infinity, nature. Also Srinivasan Ramanujan, the movie was made about him, which is literally called The Maid Who Found Infinity, something like that. Yeah, something with infinity in general. So it's quite fascinating. You'll find also many astrologers with that placement. So people who are in general very interested in many different patterns in nature and finding order in something which looks very deorganized at first sight. People born on Ashtami Tithi also love to interact. They love to interact with others, and social interaction is an unbelievably important thing for them. Again, remember, the element here is ether, and even planet is Rahu. So Rahu is in a way the most in the head, but he loves to talk with people, he loves to interact with people, and this is why also these are the people who you might very often see that they are very much into social media, we have some dog actually being a little crazy behind us. So it's very interesting because these people actually love to, bring their attention to themselves sometimes also. I mean, think of Einstein again, he loved, to be a little bit eccentric, and to kind of show himself to the world in some way, show his ideas to the world. So for these people, social interaction is very, very important. So what just happened now, actually I just found out, it was the dog who wanted very badly to have interaction with a duck, but duck was clearly not into that. So also exchange of energy, either through communication or any other means, is very important for those people. They love to exchange their energy with the world, they love to exchange their experiences also. So everything for them is about interaction, about speed as well, because ether is very fast element. So they love when things are changing, when they are stirring up, when something is actually going on. So these are also the people who kind of, need a lot of stimulation when they are learning as well. So this is something that you might really like to remember about the natives of, in fact, all Jaya Tithis, so the Tithis of ether element. They really need a lot of stimulation, lots of things going on. They love to travel as well. But exactly due to this very speedy quality of ether element, they might be a little bit impatient sometimes too. Tvarita means a swift one. And these people are also very swift, usually, very speedy, but they also have sort of very light and pleasant personality, It's usually very pleasant to actually talk to them. But exactly due to this quality of lightness and due to Rahu, who is virtually just the head in mythology, they sometimes might lack some sort of grounding, which is why, again, the goddess here, because goddess always acts like a remedy, She's the mother who is actually teaching us what we can improve within ourselves. And the goddess Tvarita, she's adorned, with all these forest flowers, with gunja berries. So she's reminding us that grounding is very important. So whenever you are born during this lunar day, actually practicing Hatha Yoga might be very interesting thing for you and very remedial thing for you, and spending enough time in nature. Because Ashtami natives are so much into this social interaction, exchange of energy, relationships are very, very important for them. And they can be also enormously romantic in their relationships, in fact. And it's so beautiful because, again, who was born on Ashtami Tithi? That was Krishna and Radha. And the romance of Radha and Krishna, there is no greater romance in the entire universe, literally. And it's so beautiful to, just dive into the story of Radha and Krishna, because Radha, was fair, she was very shy, also very decent, while Krishna was very naughty, he was also dark, So it's kind of interesting to observe simply, how different they were, and still they found balance. So Ashtami Tithi is also very much about finding balance between opposites. So because ether element is so speedy, so swift, and because also Ashtami natives are so interested and curious about so many different things in life, sometimes the mind might be a little bit too fickle and just jumping from one thing to another. So one actually very important thing for them, and a big challenge for them too, is to control their mind. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that your mind, who is controlled, can be your greatest friend. But the mind, which is not controlled, is your greatest enemy. And that is actually the most important life lesson for all Ashtami natives. Also, the yantra of Goddess Tvarita of Ashtami Tithi is very, very interesting. In fact, it's just an empty circle with 8 flower petals around it. And this is a very, very special thing because the shape of circle itself in Vedic culture is connected with tamasic energy. Why with tamasic energy? Because if you try to imagine how the energy is flowing within a circle, it just flows, constantly round and round. It never stops. It's chaotic. It flows, very aimlessly. And sometimes, if Ashtami natives don't kind of find a way how to calm their mind a little bit more, they might experience this some sort of, pointlessness, thinking about too many things at the same time, but also feeling this existential emptiness, feeling like everything is pointless, Sometimes they might really feel that. So this is one more thing for them to work on a little bit more, is to simply control their mental energy so it doesn't drag them, into these tamasic vibrations. One more thing, which is very interesting about the yantra of Goddess Tvarita or Ashtami Tithi, is that if you look at it, it's actually the only yantra that when you take it, no matter how you rotate it, you will always see it the same. Which is why equality or social justice is very, very important thing for Ashtami natives. They're very much into that. And especially actually the rights of women are very important for them. Why? Again, remember, the moon visible on the sky on Ashtami Tithi is always the half. The form of Shiva is also Ardhanarishvara, so half Parvati, half Shiva. So some sort of equality, especially social justice, is very important for them. And in fact, it's also the quality of Rahu, who is the planetary ruler here. Tvarita Devi, or the goddess presiding over this lunar day, has also a blue skin. And that is very, very important and very symbolic thing, because she is only one of the 2 Nitya Devis, or goddesses of the phases of the moon, who has the blue skin. And what blue skin represents? What is blue in nature? That's the vast sky. This is also the water. And everything that has, some sort of depth or is connected to infinity is blue. And also blue skin of Goddess Tvarita is reminding us about the power of internalization. So people born on this tithi, they really need to control their mind so it doesn't run so much on the outside, but that it goes deep within themselves. Because in fact, only when they actually dive deep within themselves is when they'll find true fulfillment. It doesn't come to them, through focusing on many things on the outside. It comes to them through internalization. In nature, blue color is also connected with things which are poisonous. In fact, if you look at blue plants, very often they are poisonous. And even if you, in fact, would like to try, insects or mosquitoes, if you paint your house in blue, you will scare them. So blue color is also very much connected with everything that is poisonous. And similarly, people born on Ashtami Tithi, they need to learn in life how to neutralize the poisons in their life. Even the form of Shiva connected to this Ashtami Tithi, I think according to Muhurta Chintamani, is Rudra or Nilakanta, the one who actually swallowed the poison and his throat became blue then. So similarly, these people must be very careful not to just, spit their emotional poison around, but to neutralize it. And they might experience also some poison, in their environment, like so-called toxic people, so-called toxic relationships. These are the things which they can really experience. And it's very fascinating because actually even in Agni Purana, there's like 3, I think, or 4 chapters just on Goddess Tvarita. And in one of these chapters you can read that some of her mantras are actually prescribed for neutralizing the snake poison too. Again, remember that she is blue, but she's also adorned with snakes. So she's the one who's friends of snakes. So again, you can see, that this theme of balancing the opposites or balancing or counterforcing different forces of nature is a very important and prominent topic here. Ultimately, Ashtami Tithi is all about balancing things. Remember, the moon on Ashtami Tithi is half dark, half bright. So it's about accepting that dark experiences are needed in life and light or bright experiences are equally needed in life, and about finding balance between them. Actually, Tvarita is also one of the names of Garuda. And if you look at Garuda, if you look at any bird, in fact, bird needs two wings to fly, right? It cannot fly just with one wing. And similarly, on Ashtami Tithi, we are learning that we need both these darker experiences in life and we need the brighter ones too. We need the negative and the positive, because everything in nature always comes along with its counterforce. So there is no joy without sorrow, there is no love without hatred. So the opposites are very, very important, and they are always playing throughout the nature. And actually so fascinating, I need to share that with you, because all the time when we are actually now recording this video, we have so many birds around us, really, and even when we just entered this forest park today, there was this majestic heron, flying right in front of us. And this is one prominent thing with Ashtami Tithi too. You might see that on Ashtami, there might be something special, some special message coming to you through some bird, actually. So Ashtami Tithi is also very much connected to birds. So that was my short analysis of Ashtami Tithi, or 8th lunar day. And if you would like to know more about your birth Tithi or any lunar phase in general, you can purchase my ebook, Journey with the Moon. You can also join me on my Patreon community, where we are having bi-monthly webinars on the topic of lunar phases, mostly. Or you can also join me in our 4-week-long intense course just about sacred lunar phases with cosmic insights. You have all the links below. Thank you so much. Namaste.